Good afternoon, y'all. Hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome on, Doug. Doug, how the hell are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. Baseball's just around the corner. Ready to go.
Pitchers and catchers reported today, y'all. In case you might have missed it, pitchers and catchers reported today. There was a, it was funny. There was a beat writer that was saying they reported Monday. They could show up Monday, but the report day is when you better be there or else. And so that's what's actually, because traditionally what the pitchers and catchers report day is when you can actually pick up a glove and you can throw the ball to the catcher. Before that, all you can do is go in and basically
like
go around the
league.
Well, what do you expect? All we got on this team was a bunch of.
Did I hit something?
Yeah.
My bad. All kinds of issues going on here. Well, it's spring training, right? Got to get everything together. If you're in the chat, hope everyone will jump in and say hi. Please hit that like button. But this is our first show of the spring training. And what we're going to do today, Doug, that I thought would be a good idea would be to just essentially go over position battles, what we're looking for this spring. Doug being a big Reds fan, I'm obviously Braves here on Braves Country Radio. And we're going to look at other things around the league, whatever we can squeeze in. We'll take you all the way to the top of the hour. Good to see the Beeve, David Thomas. Good to see you. But basically, that's what we're going on right here. Now, if y'all missed the news earlier, we'll go ahead and hit the smoke 'em if you got them.
Read all about it.
What's all the shouting?
So what you have now is what was it? Was it late last night or early this morning? They made it official. Clayton Kershaw signs a 2-year deal to return to the Dodgers. Nobody thought it was going to do that they were going to do anything but that. But that's essentially what was going down, as they were waiting to basically play the waiting game with Clayton Kershaw. And look, he's injured right now. He is not expected to be back at the earliest. They're saying June. Doug, you tell me, when do you think you actually see Clayton Kershaw on the mound for the LA Dodgers this year?
The earliest I would think is June. You might not see him on the mound this year.
I don't think you see him before the All-Star break. I really don't. They're in no hurry. This guy is made of glass. He can't give more than about 2 or 3 starts before something goes wrong. And all they're going to really use him for, honest engine, because they're going to run away with the NL West in all likelihood. They're going to use Clayton Kershaw as extended bullpen guy in the playoffs. Yep. He's not hitting the starting rotation. So Clayton Kershaw is doing this to try to acquire another ring. Clayton Kershaw has basically said goodbye to chasing any kind of win total or anything like that, because he's simply not going to be a regular starter in the Dodgers rotation. He's damn sure not going to be a part of them in the playoffs. If Clayton Kershaw is in the postseason and goes out and pitches meaningful innings, numerous meaningful innings for the LA Dodgers in October, things have gone incredibly wrong. Because when you look at the litany of starting pitchers that the Dodgers have, there's no way in hell they want a Kershaw anywhere near that mound. He hasn't been a part of their reasonable rotation in October in about 5 years or so. So I know it caught the news. It only caught the news because Kershaw's a future Hall of Famer. But really, everything he's going to the Hall of Fame for is pretty much everything pre-pandemic. I mean, it's been that long. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see. I always kind of hate people that hang on like it. I get what he's doing it for, but Yes. If anybody thinks that you're gonna see 2020 Kershaw, you're sadly mistaken.
I would have more respect for him if he went somewhere else because he wanted to pitch.
Yeah.
But he's just riding the coattails at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He was never a meaningful part of any real championship. The only real championship the Dodgers have had the last was, I guess, now 37 years since 1988 was last season.
Yeah.
The 2020 bubble ship, we won't go into that, but obviously that one is scoffed at. And he really didn't have that great of an October that year, but you can make the argument that he helped win the bubble tournament. But other than that, like, he has nothing to lean on, and I think he's just trying to acquire as many rings as he can. But I don't even know if he's going to make it in on the first ballot, because if he continues to hold on like this, there's going to be a lot of people rolling their eyes. And he damn sure won't be in the high 90 percentile. He'll be a guy, if he gets in first ballot, it'll be like barely 80.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and if he hopes, I was just gonna say, if he even hopes for that, they better win the World Series, so everybody just kind of remembers him as a winner. And if I were him, I'd run to the hills the minute you won the World Series this year. I wouldn't stick around.
Carrie asks, will Bristol have Ellie race the Braves freeze? I mean, if you think the Reds would let Ellie race the freeze in any capacity and blow his hamstring out going around the back of the track in late July, we haven't even gotten to you know what? I guess that's right around the 420 period when Carrie hit that. So she must be smoking them if she got them, because there's no way. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into some of the things that are relevant in the spring training. Now, obviously, the pitchers, for people who I got a couple of messages this week, just a real quick. The pitchers and catchers report, what that means is that they can start stretching. You'll see video today of pitchers throwing to their catchers in uniform. Some of them will be out of uniform, but they can actually go out there per the CBA and actually have baseball activities. Before this, they're not allowed to do it, because then next thing you know, there's holy hell to pay with the players union and all that kind of stuff, right? So with all that being said, that's what you'll get this week. The players will start showing up, some sooner than later, but they don't have to really be in camp until this weekend. And then they'll start going through drills next week. And then next week, you've got, I believe Thursday is the first spring training game in all of Major League Baseball. And the reason why that one is taking place on Thursday, Cubs and Dodgers, is because if you flash forward on the calendar this year, the Dodgers and I believe it's the Cubs are starting over in Japan. And so with all that being said, they are getting a few extra days. They actually reported in much earlier. Most of them showed up over the weekend. And so they are going to be playing on Thursday. Tokyo is the scene this year. And by the way, they did announce today, I do want to make sure I get this in, they announced today who the starting pitchers for the Dodgers will be. And if you were wondering, no, this isn't a big shock, but they are going to have Yamamoto start game 1 and Sasaki will start game 2. So that's something that you can look forward to. And I believe I want to get the days right on this. Dodgers, Cubs. For some reason, the MLB site's all jacked up again. But Dodgers and Cubs, 6:10 a.m. The first game is, here it is, Tuesday, March 18th. and Wednesday, March 19th. So it's just like last year. Cubs and Dodgers will be facing off in Dodger Stadium. I'm sorry, not Dodger, in Tokyo Dome, but it might as well be the damn Dodger Stadium, right? Because it's going to be a huge Dodger crowd, even though the games do count. They'll just play the 2, and then they'll have a week off, and then they'll join the rest. So that's why their first game is actually a week from Thursday. Everybody else starts on Saturday, or a week from Saturday, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're looking at here, see, the Braves start off with the Twins. As they have it out right now, that game is not being televised. Trying to get over and get through this. Man, I'll tell you what, MLB's got to get it together, man. Pitchers catchers report, but evidently their goofy interns didn't report today. But they're going to start, I believe 3:10 is next Thursday's game, right? And the Braves are playing at 1:05. Do you have the Reds in front of you, Doug?
No, nope.
Of course not.
Okay.
Let me see what we have here. All right, here we go. Man, they are having just a damn issue with their website. This is actually kind of sad for MLB to not have their act together this early in the season. But anyways, what we have so far is we're going to have, I believe the Braves are going to be playing on and televised and be able to bring you to the game 1 week from Sunday. So our first game here on Braves Country Radio is going to be a week from Sunday, 1:05 first pitch. Let me see if I can find your Reds info here, Doug. The Reds, they start 3:05 because they're out there in the Cactus League on next Saturday. They'll be playing the Guardians. And there'll be a lot of games that you can actually catch on MLB TV that first day, but right now they're showing that there's no video because the game's being played in Minnesota's spring training stadium, and evidently neither the Braves aren't planning on bringing a TV crew to that first game, and the Twins aren't televising. I don't know why, because it surprised me because the Twins in years past have broadcasted the majority of their spring training games, especially the ones that are at home. But for whatever reason, that is not the case this year. So, anywho, that's what you got going on there. As far as, I do have a list of games that will be available. Let me see on that first day. Well, here we go. Nationals and Astros, Pirates and Orioles, Red Sox and Rays, Blue Jays and Yankees, Astros, Mets. Those are all 1:00. The Cleveland Cincinnati game will be on Cleveland Guardian televisions, but you'll still be able to get it on MLB TV. White Sox and Cubs, and that's it. I don't see anything else for the rest of the game. So quite a few of them are not doing the games. What I'm having to do, and if you're wondering why I only have the one show card up for the games, I'm having to wait until the spring starts and find out which games they're actually going to show on MLB TV, because they continue to put things out on X and other social media sites and saying, hey, we've expanded our coverage and blah, blah, blah. But all they have focused on is if you can get it in the Atlanta market with local cable. So they go into detail on that, but they don't say, I'm assuming we're going to be able to get them, but with the different television contract laws and whatnot, you never know. It's not going to affect regular season. We just, I don't want to misspeak and say, hey, we're going to bring in this game on Tuesday, and then I go to pull everything up on Tuesday, and it's bloop, I can't get it. So I'm waiting to see the first one show up and go from there. But it does look like that the one next Sunday will definitely be a go because it's being streamed by Major League Baseball. Anyways, there you go with that. So let's go ahead and get into what everybody wants to talk about, everything under the sun as far as position battles and whatnot. Doug, I'll start with you, man. What's the biggest thing that you're looking at this spring for the Reds?
Well, biggest thing right off the top, is right now the only certainty that I see who's going to start is Ellie at shortstop and Tyler Stevenson behind the plate. Outside of that, there's going to be a lot of kind of positional battles. I mean, the big question mark is McLean coming back. You know, what's he going to look like after being out last season? And Carson Strand as well. Where is he going to play? So there are a lot of question marks as far as when spring training is over, who's going to be playing where. Personally, as I see it right now, and you know, I see Strand. I see right now Steer is going to be our first baseman. But today it was reported he's got a shoulder injury already, and he just showed up one day. And it's so now we're looking at, can Strand play first? Are we putting Gavin Lux at second? And that's another thing too. While I was thinking about it, a lot of people are trying to say that, oh well, it'll be all right. We'll put Gavin Lux at third. I'm telling everybody right now, Gavin Lux cannot play third. So at third, you're probably going to be platooning that between Candelario and Espinal. So there's a lot of questions up and down on who's going to play where right now. I mean, it's only the first week of spring training, but the only other certainty is that you're going to see, because we just paid for him, but Austin Hayes, he'll play either left center or right field. That's a guarantee. We just don't know which one, depending if Steer is going to play first. Is he going to end up in the outfield and Strand play first?
It sounds like McLean's going to end up at second base, right?
I would think so, but again, I just need to.
I was listening to a national podcast today, so they're not like insiders for the Reds, but it caught my ear because I knew we were going to be talking about the Reds, and they were saying that they thought McLean would end up at second base. So is that so when they say that, who are they assuming is going to be at short?
Because they're assuming that Ellie's going to play short.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
you and I were talking the other night. We felt like that Ellie would be better served playing third because he's terrible at shortstop.
He's okay at shortstop. I mean, he's solid at shortstop, but it's just that we're so weak.
Every time I've seen him play defensive at shortstop, it's a disaster. He makes too many errors. He makes too many mental errors. I don't think it's his natural position. So this isn't all on Ellie, right? Like this isn't me saying, right, oh, he sucks. No, I just feel like that they got him out of position. And if you want him to focus on how good he can be at the plate, man, you have to make him extremely comfortable in the field because you had to put him in the outfield like they did with O'Neal Cruz with the Pirates. Or you say you're going to be here, but quit moving them all over the damn place because I think that has a huge effect with him, not just playing defense, but then you're at the plate. We all know that he struggles from the right side of the plate. To be able to focus on that, it feels like to me that he's a better third baseman. But I'm not even against him being in the outfield, to be honest.
Well, outfield is pretty full. I mean, between Pays, Steer, Friedel, because Friedel end up playing center field.
Right.
Because you'll have Friedel at center. You'll have, again, Steer will probably, if Strand plays well, and he'll play first. You'll put Steer in right field, Friedel in center field, and signing Hayes from the Orioles. I would think he would be playing right field because he can play right field or center. He can play any of the outfield positions. That's what he was brought on for, to be as close to a power hitting outfielder.
I did see something pretty funny today. They said they asked Matt Olson because Matt Olson is already in camp, and he showed up today, and I think he's just working on his swing, that kind of thing. But they said that they asked him, is it World Series of Busts this year? Because if everybody remembers last year, that was Strider's narrative going into Braves Fan Fest after we had spit the bit in the 2023 postseason again against the Phillies. He says World Series of bust. Of course, then he gets injured. Acuna gets injured. The whole thing falls apart. And so they asked Olson today, is it World Series or bust? And they said he just kind of had a wry smile. He goes, the confidence is still there, and that's all I'm going to say. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm like, thank God, man. Don't start beating your chest on a team that can't get out of the first freaking round last couple of years talking about World Series or bust. Not to mention the fact we're going up against. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Everybody in the National League, you got to find a way to beat the Dodgers, or have somebody beat the Dodgers for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, same thing goes for us. I mean, with the Reds, somebody's got to figure out.
Everybody in the National League is staring up at the Dodgers.
Yeah,
not because they won the World Series, because their payroll is through the freaking roof. And MLB is never going to do anything about that, so you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, the thing about the Reds and that payroll, it's so back-ended. Yeah, when these players either retire and they demand the most of their money, I mean, are the Dodgers potentially going to go bankrupt? Because they owe almost $500 million in back pay. What I'm saying is, a lot of these contracts are back-ended into like the last 5 years of these of individual players' contracts. You better hope they're winning that they're just chunking out money every year for the next 10 to 15 years, because they're going to have to end up paying up a lot of guys.
I know a lot of people are picking at that, but I'm telling you right now, I believe it's a solid business decision. Do I think it should be allowed? No, I think it's horse crap that they're allowing this. But if you're going to allow it, the Dodgers are taking advantage of it, because so it's not going to hit your tax. What's going to hit your taxes right now, right?
Yeah.
It's going to hit your bank account in 10 years when the Ohtani money comes due. And assuming that you still have a healthy ownership, you're going to be fine. And all the money that you're going to make over the next 10 years because of World Series championships or playoff appearances, whatever, you don't have to win the series, jersey sales, you name it, money's going to just get flooded into their bank account, and that's what's going to pay for this in 10 years. So the problem is they're allowing it to do it. We do have a question. Beav wants to know, is there an update on Cunha or Strider? I'll tell you what, it's been pretty positive, especially on the Strider front. It's being said by Anthopoulos, which I don't think you can get a better source than your general manager, that he believes that Spencer Strider could be pitching in spring training games, which would translate to Spencer Strider joining the actual club and pitching meaningful innings for the Braves sometime in the first month of the season. Now, as far as Acuna, to me, it still looks like the way that they word it, that best case scenario would be mid to late May. But I just don't think they're going to hurry him back. And if they do, you might have a situation where he's playing every other day for a while. And how many days can you put him in the outfield? If you put him at the DH, then you lose Ozuna's bat. So that's kind of a tricky thing there, because yeah, in theory you could put Ozuna in left field, but man, they tried that nonsense last offseason. They even tried him playing in some first base, and he did nothing to make them think that was a good idea, so they moved on. So I think most likely what's going to happen with Acuna when he does come back, we'll just be very, very conservative and say June, right? Beginning of June, maybe even mid-June, whatever. I think he'll play every other day for the first few weeks. And then eventually it'll be back-to-back days and a day off, and then eventually 3. But I don't think you're going to see a situation this season where he plays 6 games in 7 days. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to be very, very cautious with him, as they should. It makes it a little easier because of the Jerickson Profar edition, and you do have Brian De La Cruz, and you do have Jared Kelenic to spell right field, but obviously nobody brings the kind of offensive output that Ronald Acuna Jr. does. The I think when people are asking me the number one thing that I'm looking at this spring, so all in all, outside of the Acuna situation, our starting roster is set with some platoons as far as the batting order goes. I'll probably hit up the batting order before the first game that we do. I won't bog you down with that today. But when you just look at the fact that it's going to be Murphy and all likely Chadwick Trump unless someone in camp just blows him away, that's your catching tandem. Olsen's back. Ozzy should be able to hit from both sides of the plate and be actually healthy when he gets in the lineup. Arcia's going to be your shortstop. Hate to break it to you, Braves fans. Third base, Austin Riley's back. That's a huge get. And then center, obviously, is going to be Harrison. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year this year. I think he's really started to take the next step at the end of the season last year. Profar will be in left field, and then you'll have De La Cruz and Kelenic and right until Acuna comes back, and obviously it was injured DH. But the biggest thing that the Braves are going to be looking at, it's not just that starting rotation that everybody's fearful about. Man, there's going to be a lot of questions in that bullpen. A lot of questions. And some of the stuff, if you missed it earlier this week, they made a couple more signings. They signed Dylan Covey, and they signed Jake Diekman. All these are minor league deals. These are basically prove it or lose it deals. They also signed Chad Kuhl last week. But none of these guys are going to blow you away. This isn't like a Kenley Jansen signing. This isn't something off. By the way, a couple other signings that have happened in the last few days. I think a lot of people might have missed this. Tigers signed Jack Flaherty. Twins signed Harrison Bader. The Twins also signed Ty France. Yohan Mikado went to the Angels. Jason Hayward to the Padres. Man, that guy's got 9 lives for someone who hits about 210. Clayton Kershaw with the Dodgers, talked about that. Kenley Jansen went to the Angels, and they're expecting him to not be the everyday starter, but they got a young kid, closer. They've got a young kid there that's supposed to be the closer in the Angels bullpen, but most people believe they're not going to pitch him back-to-back days because the Angels aren't going to be any good. So Kenley Jansen is going to be a guy who can go in and get some saves. But if you're looking from the fantasy standpoint, you don't want anything to do with them. What was the other thing? Oh, Anthony Rendon to undergo hip surgery, facing long-term absence. That might be the worst contract. And I used to always say it was Patrick Corbin. That might be the worst contract in the history of sports. That guy sucks. Why didn't he have this freaking surgery earlier in the offseason? Remember that last year when he came in and said he wasn't very happy? He wasn't all that enthused to be at work as to be back for spring training. It was about this time last year, and it went viral. And he was saying, "Well, I'm gonna get 6 a.m. to play baseball. You jackass! You're not getting up 6 a.m. to go work the coal mines. Spare me with your crap." So now he's having hip surgery. That's probably something that bothered him in the offseason. He said, "Screw it, I'll wait till the regular season starts or till this time of year starts so I can sit there and suck on the IL." He's just terrible. Yeah,
he's probably the most useless baseball player I've ever seen.
He's a useless human being. Useless. And remember, it was only 3 or 4 years ago when he tried to fight a fan who was giving him a hard time. And the fan wasn't, for people who didn't see it, he wasn't overly, in his face. He was just giving him crap a little bit. And he was threatening to climb up into the freaking stands and do something like, dude, what are you, a dope? You do that. You do that and all your $315 million goes flushed down the toilet because that guy's going to sue the hell out of you. The Braves bullpen, to me, I see someone mention, they mentioned Jordan Weems. Jordan Weems, I'm intrigued by Jordan Weems. We saw him quite a bit because he pitched for the Nationals. And so we saw him quite a bit. And there were times when we would see Jordan Weems like, God bless, man, this guy is absolutely lights out, right? And then there are other times where he was getting way too much of the plate. So I'm intrigued by Jordan Weems. And if you're looking at the bullpen right now, the biggest question is the guys who are on the 40-man. We'll do a deeper dive. I'll probably come on next Sunday, probably come on about a half hour before first pitch, and we'll talk about who we're looking at today. By then, they will have announced who's going to get the ball to start, and then, of course, we'll be looking at the bullpen. But some of the guys that you're looking out there, Weems isn't even technically on the 40-man right now, but we know that he'll be a part of the team. As far as he's considered as a non-roster invitee right now. You've got him. And by the way, I thought he was a little older than what he is. Jordan Weems is 30. He's 32, 6'4", 211, and he throws high 90s. Suero's an interesting one. Chasen Shreve. Man, it seems like that guy's got 9 lives. Aniel De Los Santos has me intrigued because they've spoken highly of him. But back to the actual 40-man and who's on that. One of the biggest things I think people have to realize when you're talking about building the rotation for the Braves, and we'll get back to the Reds in a second, Doug. So get your thoughts on what you want to talk about on there. But Ian Anderson does not have any more options. So if Ian Anderson does not make the team or is not on the IL, and it may be like a ghost IL, they're going to have to DFA him. And somebody is going to snatch him up. So when they talk about who's a lock to make the starting rotation, obviously we're talking about Chris Sale, Ronaldo Lopez, and Schwellenbach. Those are obvious answers. I think Ian Anderson is going to have to really stink to not get the number 4 slot. We're not counting Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider will not be on the opening day roster. So then you're going to be looking at least one more, and there's probably going to be a second one. I think they're going to run with like a 6-man rotation where they're bouncing them back and forth for where you'll eventually probably be shuffling through about 7. But remember, Ian Anderson cannot be one of the guys that they send down this year because he's out of options. And so Grant Holmes, I think, has the inside track to be the number 5 starter. Realistically, I think he's probably the 4 because he's probably a little better than Ian Anderson at this point. But I think that's probably your 5-man rotation. But if Grant Holmes comes out and struggles a little bit, and Doug, we were talking about this the other night, I do not hate having Grant Holmes in that bullpen because I have just so many questions about that bullpen. We lost AJ Minter. We lost Joe Jimenez until at least probably the All-Star break, and that's best case scenario. A lot of people don't even think he's going to pitch this year. So with that being said, Dylan Lee is back. Aaron Bummer is back. So we got answers on the and they're big on Angel Perdomo as well. So you got 3 lefties in the bullpen that I think are givens. Obviously, Eyeglasses is your closer. But the rest of your bullpen is kind of a crapshoot. And it's going to come down to, and this is the first time this has been the case here for the Braves since we've been covering this. This will be my 5th year of doing the play-by-play for the Braves. We've never had this many question marks in their rotation and bullpen going into spring training. By the way, they just announced Drew Smith has agreed to a deal with the Mets with an option for 2026. That had been rumored for a hot minute, but I figured they were bringing him back. There are Mets fans going to go out there and groan, but I'm telling you right now, Drew Smith's got pretty good stuff. And so there's so many different guys. Daysbel Hernandez, I think there's a very good likelihood that he ends up in there. But when you talk about the starting rotation, outside of the guys that I just mentioned, Bryce Elder is going to be given every chance. And if Bryce Elder doesn't make it and they don't think he can make it as a part of at least like the 5th, 6th, 7th guy going through a rotation, he might find himself as a part of a trade somewhere. All right, Doug, what do you want to talk about?
Well, it's interesting you talk about your starting, your pitching rotation. I mean, we've got a lot of, not question marks, but a lot of intrigue with our pitching rotation. Hunter Green, a given that he'll start. I think Green and Abbott, they're starters. Where I think it's going to be interesting this year is there's a lot of question marks about Lodolo. Lodolo, when he finished last season, he finished on a down note, and that's because he had to change his pitch because the way he
with him, aren't they?
Yes, and that's what's going to happen, especially.
That's wild.
Yeah, at the very if he cannot prove in spring training that he can pitch more than a couple of weeks without hurting himself, he's going to be in the bullpen because we've got Rhett Lauder, who's a young kid that he pitched 6 games, 6 weeks, the last 6 weeks of the season, and he was brilliant. Won't kill you with his strikeout rates, but he finished off that season, those 6 games, with a 1.1 ERA and like a 0.9 WHIP. So Lauder coming into this year, if he makes the squad, look for Lodolo. He got to put him in the bullpen. I mean, that's where he's going to go. Abbott secured. Hunter Green is secured. But we got Wade Miley is even supposed to come back sometime, probably not till like maybe June.
God, tell us someone's got 9 lives.
Wade I know
he's everywhere.
I mean, I in the end, I don't see them taking him because we've got another rookie coming up this year too, and he's coming up for spring training. His name is Chase Petty rather. Great kid, brilliant arm, just like Rhett Lauder, but he's more of a strikeout. But he's more of a power thrower than Rhett Lauder is. So unless Francona intends to go to a 6-man rotation, which I've always heard the Reds been wanting to do that for years, but they never do. Look for at least 2 spots with Lodolo and with actually even Abbott. Look for competition for those for at least 2 of those spots.
We got a question for you, Doug. Kerry wants to know what your thoughts are with this team with Tito at the helm, taking over as the manager.
What I'm hoping is everything that I've seen with old Tito is that he can take the talent that we have on this team. I just hope he can bring out the best. I'm really excited to have somebody like. I mean, the guy came out of retirement to coach our team, so I'm hoping he's bringing the magic that he's brought to other teams. You know, he's always brought out the best in all his players and all the teams.
I'm a huge Tito fan, man. I love everything about that guy. I
do
too.
He
was done when he had to walk away because of the cancer and it wore him down. And I thought maybe he was done. I actually thought he'd probably go into broadcasting if he did anything.
He took this, from what I understand too. He talked about it. He saw our organization. And that's what I'm so excited about. He sees this as a challenge. I mean, he really wants to make this team, a World Series champion.
That's a home run for y'all. That's a home run for y'all.
Yep.
I'm not saying this to put anybody else down in the division, but I think you've got the best manager in the NL Central.
Yes.
Because that's how highly I think of Tito. I'm not putting down Counts. I'm not putting down any of the other guys. So don't get me wrong on that. But he's that good. He got the best out. Now, look, he walked away last year and the Indians or Guardians. Damn, I'm still doing that. Actually appeared to have gotten better. But he got the most out of the talent there in Cleveland. And so I think he's going to be able to do it. Man, he was fun to watch manage teams, way back when as a Boston. And I think Kerry was the one that mentioned it, but you're definitely going to have much more colorful interviews post game than what you did.
It's not going to be. Yeah, it's not going to be the David Bell. Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Yeah.
he did interviews like a hostage. He wanted to be
I know.
there.
I always expect him when he was asked a question to hold up a newspaper.
But I almost didn't want, what's worse? Because what the Braves get with Snicker is the same answer no matter what. Every time they ask him a question, it's the same old crap. So I'm jealous that we don't have a spark plug like Tito coming into our dugout. I wish the Braves would have done something personality-wise into the dugout, even if they were going to keep Snicker, to bring something else in. But I guess you can't have everything.
Yeah, that's true. Everything. I mean, from what I understand too, kind of one of the insiders in Cincinnati talking about the locker room is a completely different place right now. I know they just reported, but they're already talking about player attitudes have changed 360. Just the fact that he's been hired already. Everybody seems to be. The greatest thing I came out of this with Francona so far is the fact it seems like coming into this week, everybody wants to play baseball again. Everybody in that locker room is excited to play baseball again. Because last year they were talking about with David Bell, people were, they'd be in the dugout looking at their phone. Everybody just kind of went through the motions. Not anymore, it seems.
And maybe he can get the best out of Ellie.
That's what I'm hoping for.
With the Braves.
And Steer as well. Now, we know Steer kind of fell off at the end of the season, but that was because of his shoulder. But I'm hoping, especially with Ellie. But Steer as well, I hope he can get him motivated to hit like he did in 23.
With the Braves, as far as the positional battles that are basically for the bench, I still feel like Eli White's going to be the one that makes the team. And they may go a route of keeping a Luke Williams run because he can play outfield and infield and take one less infielder with them. But the other guys that are in the conversation are guys like Nick Allen and Christian Cairo. If you get locked into worrying about that, I think you're wasting your time. None of them are going to blow you away with their talent. They are literally there as a stopgap if there's an injury or possibly as a pinch runner, because we all know that the Braves like to send the same starting lineup out there every day. I have contended this for years, and I think it came to fruition last year. You simply can't do that. I feel like that you need to have days off built in for all these guys because the 162 game grind always ends up in injuries. And we weren't doing it for the first few years recently, but they were also super young. And as they get older, you're just pushing the envelope, and you're out there you're asking for some kind of soft tissue injury because of the wear and tear. Guys like Nacho Alvarez are in the mix again this year. I know he was a fan favorite. I don't see anything with him though. He's light hitting infielder. He played defense fine. He wasn't lights out, but he was fine everywhere we put him. But his stick is, he might as well be going up to bat with one of those paper straws that that the president just outlawed, because he cannot be less of a threat at the plate. Like, man, Nicky Lopez was more of a threat at the plate. I just saw somebody signed him too. Nicky Lopez. I forget. I think it was the Cubs, because I think he stayed in Chicago. But anyways, as far as a couple of the rumors before we jump out of here, they're saying Alex Bregman, and Arenado are still in play for the Red Sox. Red Sox want to find a third baseman, is what it smells like. I just don't know why you're doing that, because you put 300-something million to was it 330 that they gave to Rafael Devers just recently. And maybe they're going to slide Devers over to first. Maybe they're going to make him a DH, but Devers is not really a liability at third side. It's kind of a head scratcher. The Bregman thing I understand, because you can move him to second and he can honestly play second base. If you make a trade for Nolan Arenado, he has to play third base. You can't put him here. He's a Gold Glove third baseman. You can't waste his talent because his stick is gone. His stick is cooked. So that one's intriguing me. I still think if I'm ranking it, I've got Alex Bregman. 1A is to the Tigers, 1B is to the Cubs. And then a very distant third would be the Red Sox. Because I just have a hard time believing the way the Red Sox ownership has been for the last several years that they are going to go out there and spend $150 to $170 million on Alex Bregman and then play him out of position. You're going to go. So basically, you're going to spend somewhere around $25 million a year, somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe even 30, depending on what his numbers come in at, to play second base. And I just have a hard time believing that. I wouldn't be surprised by the Red Sox doing that 5 years ago, but this current ownership is not the same. That's it as far as we went over the Tokyo series. If I can squeeze it into my schedule, I'm actually seriously thinking about doing the Tokyo games, y'all. So I did them last year when they were when it was, what was it? It was Dodgers in San Diego, I believe. I believe they were in Korea, but it was the same time frame. It's 6 a.m. I just don't know what my work schedule is going to be like because I've got a lot of stuff going on with me personally. With us, I won't get into the details with everybody, but we're moving, and we're moving during the baseball season. We don't know when we're moving, but that's going to be that's going to add some issues as far as doing the games, but if everything goes according to plan, I believe I'll bring you at least one of those games. Because if I'm not at my day job, I'm going to be up watching the damn thing anyways. Because I don't care if it's not the Braves. I want to watch that. That was fun last year. And remember last year when that happened? That was when the news broke of Shohei Ohtani getting his hand caught in the cookie jar before they covered the whole damn thing up and threw it on his translator.
I remember.
We're going to have to wait 60 years before they unlock those files like they're doing with the JFK files right now. Because did you hear that today? I forget the lady's name that was doing the interview, but she said that she believes, and no one's ever done this openly involved with the government, but she believes that there was a second shooter. And I'm sitting there going, man, everybody knows there was at least two of them. So 60 years from now, when we're all dead and gone, and they come out and goes, by the way, we think maybe Shohei Ohtani had something to do with this gambling scandal. Of course he does. He'll long be in the Hall of Fame, and they'll have sold so many damn jerseys they won't care about it. You're never going to make me believe that his translator stole $5 million from him and bet on baseball in baseball facilities, and all he got was 4 year slap on the wrist. And you know he's going to do that at a country club. Yeah,
that's kind of a stretch.
He got just. Yeah, I think Carrie's asking, did he get prison time? He did get prison time. Like I just said, he got just under 5 years. I want to say it was 53, 54 months, somewhere in that neighborhood. Might have been a touch higher, but.
And he won't do all of that time either.
No, he won't do any of it because, like I say, he's going to be in a country club somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably working for a sports book. And he took the fall. Yeah, he took the fall. I forget who it was, but someone famously said, if you're gonna do the crime, it's not important that you're ready to do the time. If you do the crime, you got to make sure you're gonna find someone to do the time for you.
Exactly.
I want to say that was Chris Carter, but it was some athlete that basically said, if you're gonna act like a jerk, get your hand all dirty, make sure somebody's willing to take in the fall. You'll never make me believe that anything else than that. I still can't get over this. Anthony Rendon is announcing hip surgery. Pitchers and catchers. Hey, I feel a twinge or something. Yeah, but you didn't feel like twinge. You're out golfing and on the boat all off season. What's your walk off, sir? As we get out of here.
Walk off. I was just going to go back to the Reds real quick because there was something I forgot from earlier, and this is going to be my take. That third base position, I forgot. They're bringing Novel Marte back. Look for if there's going to be a big battle for that spot. Marte to actually.
Well, can you see her? Yeah. All right. Well, here's my walk off. Cookie, you got anything to say? Go Braves. She always has a Braves collar on for folks who've never seen Cookie before. She would come wandering in here. She sure started talking baseball, and she wanted to come in here and say hi. So, go Braves. My walk-off is thank you for not knocking over my coffee. That was close. My walk-off is we'll see you a week from Sunday. The game is set. I think it's 105. I think these MLB spring training games for the Braves, most of them are 105 Eastern. So we're normally going to come on at about 12:45 for the first pitch. But I believe that first game I'll probably come on about a half hour before because we'll have so much to go over. And by then we'll know who's pitching. Now, whoever pitches, if you've never paid attention to spring training before, y'all, that first round 3, they pitch 1 inning, sometimes 2 because it's usually a pitch count. But I'm hoping that we get – I would say we're probably going – if they do it like they've done it in years past, we won't get Chris Sale the first go-around. We're more likely to get Ian Anderson or someone who's competing for the 4th and 5th spot, because if they can help it, they're gonna limit the innings and the pitches on guys like Sale and Schwellenbach. Because my biggest hope is that we have a healthy season, because that's what kicked our ass last year. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll see you next time. Great job, Doug. Oh, and someone was asking, I believe, yes, we are doing the Fantasy Baseball League. If you want to play, it's free to play. We basically do it for fun. We've got a Stanley Cup style trophy that we put the winner's name on every year. Doug, I sent you an invitation just before the show started, so
okay.
I thought you were already on there, but you were balking dead last year, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I sent it to you. I accidentally left you because we trimmed some of the fat of some of the people that are never involved with our baseball and never. I really got rid of a few of them that never fixed their damn lineups. So, but that draft, by the way, is and by the way, it's first come, first serve. So shoot me your you can email me, macmcgeesports@yahoo.com, which that's on our page. If you're figuring out how to spell it, you can also DM us on our Facebook page, Braves Country Radio. We got 4, counting Doug. We have 5 of the 10 spots filled. If we get enough people, we'll probably do 12-man league. I don't want to do much more than that, because you do much more than that, it gets into really wonky rosters. But if you're interested in playing, we want folks that are going to be here and be involved in watching the games with us all year long. So don't just give it to some friend of yours that doesn't give a crap about hanging out and watching the games with it, because I want it more inclusive of people who hang out here in Braves country. All right, y'all have a good one. See ya. What is this? I guess it's February 23rd, 12:30 Eastern. We'll come on for Braves versus Rays. It looks like we're going to get it. And y'all have a great one. Great job, Doug.
Hey.